NASCAR NEXTEL Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Chevy. The most wins in NASCAR history. An American Revolution.
Rivalry. One who competes or attempts to outdo another.
The latest chapter in the Red Sox-Yankee rivalry was about to begin.
He loops out to left field. Going to be a tough play. Jeter on the run, makes the play.
Ortiz into deep right field. Back is Sheffield. We'll see you later tonight.
There's a drive on the line to left field. Come on, Moose.
Next week, Yankees, Red Sox, and Cardinals, Cubs, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. The rivalry is back on Fox Saturday Baseball.
A big sports Saturday on Fox. Baseball, then racing. And you see car 42 carrying the memorial decal for number 42, as this is a very special day in baseball, as you heard yesterday on Fox Saturday Baseball. It was on this date 60 years ago that Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball, playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And Ken Griffey Jr. came up with the idea, asked Bud Selig could he wear number 42 in tribute to Robinson. Not only did Selig say yes, he encouraged as many major leaguers as wished to follow suit. 5 complete teams and 150 players are wearing number 42 in tribute to a great player, the man who did a great thing for sports across America, Jackie Robinson. He was followed by Larry Doby a couple of months later in the American League, and professional sports began to be integrated throughout America and in NASCAR. Wendell Scott from Danville, Virginia, the first African-American to regularly drive on the circuit. In a largely southern sport, he had to endure many of the same taunts and tribulations that Robinson faced in the big cities, in the big leagues, but Wendell Scott persevered and won what is now a Nextel Cup race in Jacksonville, Florida in 1963.
Wendell was a sweet man and a hard worker. I mean, he did all the work on his car himself. He and his couple of his sons, that's all the crew he had. I'll never forget, I told you this before, on his fender, you used to have who the mechanic was? Had mechanic, me.
You know how Wendell got his first ride? It's a great little story. They were promoting a race in his hometown of Danville, Virginia, and the race promoter went to the chief of police, and he said, I need a black driver for the race to try to encourage some of the fans to attend. Who can you think of that we ought to go talk to? He said, you go see Wendell Scott. He said, he's the one we can't catch.
I like that.
From our DLP Ultimate Picture Cam, here's the restart, remembering Jackie Robinson, Wendell Scott, and all those other great sports pioneers. Let's crank it up. Boy, Joe Nemechek was almost hard into Greg Biffle coming off turn 4 there.
Tell you what, talking about both hands and feet up on the wheel, a car I've been watching, we rode with him just a second ago, Denny Hamlin at 11 car. He's trying to get up there as we ride with him here. He wants to catch that car right in front of Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car. Denny is 1 lap down back in 18th position. 140 laps ago, had to make an unscheduled stop for a loose wheel, trying to get up there to be the first car a lap down to get that lap back should we get a caution.
I think Casey Kane may have just brushed the wall coming off 4.
Something happened right in there. I don't know if it's he or the 66 car. Something happened.
Last year's winner here, Kane, slow at the back of the pack, may have bumped the wall coming off 4. But he continues, and this has not been a good day for Casey Kane. He is 2 laps off the pace in 30th place.
And won both races there last year. No, he won the first race there from the pole last year. I'm sorry.
Now here's what happened to Greg Biffle, and watch the 13 of Nemechek. They get together coming off 4 right there.
Now, Greg Biffle in the 16 car, he's still on the lead lap back in the 14th position. What put him in the back of the pack? We heard that maybe his motor was going sour. Actually, they had a battery problem. They elected on that last caution to come to pit road and change the battery. Chris Myers asked me who that caution benefited. Obviously, Greg Biffle able to change that battery under caution.
I think it also Kurt Busch, because he says his back's hurting. We hadn't had any cautions for you to get kind of set up in the seat, make some adjustments, and make yourself feel better.
Well, after the hit he had here Friday, he should be sore.
He should be. That was an incredible hard lick on the right side of the car.
But Darrell, what we're seeing with that 24 car right behind Kurt Busch and the 2, Jeff Gordon in the 24, is he seems to be able to really go hard on fresh tires. He drove right by Jeff Burton a while ago. Let's just see if that car stays under him on the end of this run.
Tony Stewart racing for NASCAR Day and running in 9th place right now, Krista.
Well, imagine being a crew member and hearing your driver come on the radio and saying right flat. That is exactly what happened down in the 20 pit right before that caution came out. But it wasn't Tony. You see, Tony was saying it, but he keyed his mic late. He was saying the number 38 has a right flat. The crew went crazy. The caution came out. Turned out Tony was fine. He just needed to rotate through the turns a little better. That's all.
Well, that's definitely a car they have had to make some pretty serious adjustments on since the drop of the green flag. Real aggressive on that first pit stop early in the race.
Matt Kenseth in 8th place. He is the highest running Ford in the race. Carl Edwards is 12th, Biffle 14th. 3 Fords on the lead lap.
And based on Matt Kenseth's performance in most races, him being that close to the front, he could win this thing. Because usually I think they're way back in 15th or 18th adjusting on it. Today he's in 8th adjusting on it.
But you know, right in front of Matt Kenseth, well, we have Johnny Sauter in the 70 car who's a lap down, but Mark Martin in the 01 car, remember, had the points lead 2 races ago, elected not to go to Bristol, not to go to Martinsville. That pretty much ended his streak of 621 consecutive starts, but he's back in this Army car, and guess what? He's back in the top 10 in this race, too.
And he's running a typical Mark Martin race, in my opinion, just kind of hanging around. Haven't heard much about him today. He's in the top 10. Wait till this thing's over with.
Well, he's hanging right behind this battle for 5th place. Jeff Burton and Kyle Busch. They're about 4.5 seconds behind the leader.
I think Mark's a really big race fan. He just likes to watch a lot of racing from his windshield.
Exactly.
16 cars on the lead lap, including Brian Vickers, who again got the free pass on that last caution. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading Jimmy Johnson by 2.5 seconds. There's the city of Dallas, a short drive from Texas Motor Speedway. We're located just north of the center of Fort Worth and just north of where the Tornadoes touched down here Friday night. A change at 2nd place, where Jimmy Johnson has fallen off the leaderboard. That Lowe's number 48 has dropped a cylinder.
And that was one of our keys to the race, engine durability. We're closing in on 100 miles to go. Now, I do need to stress, this is not one of the new R07 engines of Chevrolet. The only Hendrick car that has one in is Casey Mears, the 25.
And we hear there may also be problems on Johnson's teammate, Kyle Busch. Dick Berggren?
Yeah, he came on the radio just a couple of moments ago, Mike, and said he could smell the engine. And meanwhile, Matt Kenseth, who was away behind him, said he thought there might be a problem with the number 5's engine as well.
And you know, you say, well, that's odd. No, one of the things that the driver can do, he listens. So if the engine changes a tune, you know it. and he smells. You're constantly smelling things inside the car, and if something changes, then you realize there's something going on.
Jimmy Johnson comes in here 3rd in the points. His teammate Kyle Busch comes in here 5th in the points.
Boy, this has been a great battle. Tony Stewart and Juan Pablo Montoya since this last caution. Montoya's been all over Stewart like a cheap suit.
Man, I'm telling you.
Hasn't been able to make the pass.
What did you, I don't know what you say in Spanish to Juan Montoya, but man, he took off. What is it?
Andale.
Andale, not boogity, 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 but andale, 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 right?
I don't even know what boogity is in Spanish.
It's universal.
We'll get letters.
No, it's the same all over the world.
Boogity,
boogity, boogity is the same all over the world.
That's good.
That's a universal language.
But Mike, he had a great pit stop on that last caution. Reason he had a good pit stop then versus a while ago is he was in his pit box where the guys could get around the car and get things handled on the left side.
Now he's taking a higher line than Stewart. And they're closing up on Jimmy Johnson.
Well, that high line was what got him up there. And then he started trying to mess around a little bit, trying to get around Tony, and he lost a lot of ground. But here he is, looking underneath. And
using Johnson as a pick. And there he goes.
Here. Come on.
And here comes Stewart back at him.
Well, he got the run on the high side off turn 2, just like we've seen so many times. You're just able to keep that engine wound up
now,
there.
This is where you better be careful. Oh,
Stewart around.
Oh, I was just thinking that you might want to be real careful doing that.
Nowhere for Jimmy Johnson to go with that 48
All
car.
good. Tosses out.
I don't think Jimmy hit him. He did a little bit.
Yeah, he got him pretty good.
Sorry about that, Jimmy.
Montoya and Stewart side by side. Stewart goes around and is collected by Johnson.
And of course, what put Jimmy back that far was the fact of being down a cylinder.
Let's have a look.
What happens is Montoya goes down into turn 3 here really hard under Tony. He wants to try to clear him if he can, but when he gets in here, you watch. Car gets a little bit loose and scoots up the racetrack and gets against Tony, and around he goes. Drove it hard in there, and then the car starts to walk up the hill. A little bit of, you can see his hands in there really working the wheel. Didn't make a lot of contact, but just enough to send him around.
And Tony takes a pretty good hit from Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, but I think it's in an area that it probably isn't going to hurt anything.
Yeah, he got him between the wheels, Darrell.
That's what it looked like, yeah. And you can see how the car just walks up the track. That car on the outside's just pulling him. Tony's just pulling Juan right up into him.
Look at Johnny Sauter in the 70s. Second time today, he gets the Good Hands Award. Missed that one, as did Bobby Labonte.
Let's see what the smoke was doing here. Now, you know, that seemed like relatively light contact.
Let's ride with Jimmy Johnson. The unavoidable, inevitable.
Yeah, stay down.
See, Jimmy can't see right there. That's how.
Dick Berggren.
Stewart just came down.
Kyle Busch drives into his pit. There'll be no effort on this engine, but for the first time all day, we're going to see a wrench go in the back of the car. There it goes as they begin to adjust the chassis. Car has just gotten a little bit too tight, Krista.
Kurt Busch not only doing a dance out on the track, doing the dance in the chatter with his new crew chief, Troy Raker. The decision is a track bar and air pressure. He just needs a little more side bite. Matt.
Chassis adjustment already completed for Jeff Burton. He says the car is just really too tight down in turns 1 and 2. It's not aero, it's something else. Steve.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is away. Little or no adjustments. A quarter-pound air pressure adjustment. The car turning really good on the 8. Jeff Gordon in the 24 saying, I was good for a couple of laps on that run, but now it's way too tight. They raised the track bar on the 24 of Jeff Gordon.
And Steve, they lost a ton of spots. You can see right there, 6 spots on pit road for that 24 pit stop.
I'm not sure what happened on the stop, but Gordon was right behind Junior coming down pit road and was not happy with the pace and was giving Junior a little push there like, come on, we got to go. Tony Stewart spins off of Juan Pablo Montoya and then gets tagged by Jimmy Johnson to bring out caution flag number 5.